Hey Casey Ho fam, what's up? This is the professor, and I am doing a movie review on Udta Punjab. Boy, oh boy, I remember doing this trailer like when I first started off on YouTube, and thinking, wow, that looked really kind of different compared to like the traditional Bollywood films that you see here. And and boy, oh boy, was it! I was really taken back by it. Sometimes you see films made that they're showing nudity or they're dropping f bombs just because they can, and it really doesn't add anything to the story. Um, this film, the violence and vulgarity they added, kind of tied into uh, what they were trying to portray in this film. What I want to do is just I pulled up a little notes here, and I want to read to you um, just some of the things on the background of the film, because I didn't know this. I didn't see this till afterwards. I had no idea that this film kind of got in trouble a little bit. That there was a move to block this film because it was too vulgar for the general audience. And I have kind of mixed emotions on this. Number one, I like the fact that India kind of cracks down on its censor board on films, because there's just not a lot of craziness that gets passed on to the consumer that doesn't need to be there, right? Um, uh, but on the other hand, when you see this film, I didn't think it was, overly vulgar. Um, for an American standard, I understand the argument for an Indian standard for a Bollywood film, but for the American audience, I don't think so at all. And the Bombay High Court struck it down and gave permission for this film to be released, um, and it was on June 16th. It was made for a budget of $5.9 million dollars. In American dollars. That's 400 million rupees, I think. And it earned 15 million US dollars worldwide, which is great that you did three times what your production cost was, and which was 997 million rupees. I think that's what we're looking at as rupees, and it won four awards, and these awards I think were well deserved. I have to tell you, I think, boy, where to start with this? Let's kind of talk about the overview of the film. So if you haven't seen the film and you don't want to be spoiled, go watch something else. Go watch Cynthia's reactions. Go watch that, because you won't hear it then. This film is set in Punjab, and it's kind of going to portray a dark side of society. It's going to be these drug problems, and what we have in this film is we have kind of, I guess, four characters. There's a girl. There's Tommy Singh, who's a Garbu. I'm a Garbu. There is a police officer who looks like he's playing a Sikh. He's wearing a turban. And then his little brother, and then we kind of got a doctor off to the side here. And it's these four people, and it's like Punjab is the center of it, and these four people are spokes sticking out in different directions, and it's their interaction with the drug culture and how it changes. So we see, kind of disconnected in the beginning. It's all disconnected, and we see Tommy Singh, who's a Garbu. I'm a Garbu. We see him in his cocaine-fueled rock star, pop star, concert, out of control living, and how he interacts with this dark side and uses drugs, and how it affects him and his career and his family. He's constantly in scrapes with the police, for just being an idiot, and we see him, get arrested, and he very much has this attitude of entitlement, of like, don't you know who I am? Like, you could just see his character pulling that card all the time. Don't you know who I am? And there's a scene where he's in jail and he's out of water, and he starts throwing a fit, and the police officer, who's a part of this circle, says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Would you like me to open the door and let you leave? How's that? Would you like that?" And he just starts smacking him in the face. Wow. Wow. And just on a side note, there's a whole lot of smacking in the face going on in India, dude. There's a whole lot of like, right in the face. And so we see his kind of downward spiral of Tommy Singh. Who's a Garbu? I'm a Garbu. Um, he we see him shoot his manager, who I think is his uncle. I think, and in his fight to get clean, right? So we see that one spoke coming in. Then there's a spoke of the girl, and let me look up the girl's name, because I was thoroughly impressed with this girl. Thoroughly impressed. I thought she did a great job. Allah Bhat, Aliyah Bhat, maybe Aliyah Bhat. She played a young girl who was working in the fields, and it was next to some kind of drug drop off point. And one night she's in the fields, and she gets drugs. We see some kids, some men, practicing throwing the drugs over the fence for the other people to come and get them. It looks like maybe she's on a border, and she gets the drugs, and she knows it's contraband, but she doesn't know what it is or how much it's worth, and so she steals it. And decides that she's going to go home and figure out how much this is worth and try to sell it, and so she can get out of working class poverty kind of thing. Well, and we see her, figure out how to get away, to how many kilos she has, and then she goes down where the drug heads are, the crackheads, and she says to one of the crackheads, this boy, I need help selling this. This is what I have. Can you help me sell it? And he's like, that's like a lot. And it turns out this boy, who's the next kind of spoke into the story, is the police officer's brother. I think he's his younger brother. And he said, you got to go to the town and deal with like real drug dealers, because I can't. This is like way above my pay grade. I'll take 10%, to help you do this. And she's like 5. And she figures out how much it's going to be, and it's like $10 million worth of drugs that she has right there. And she's like, oh. So she makes her way over to the city where this drug dealer is to go sell these drugs. And she is found out, right? She is found out. They realize that that's their drugs, and they start chasing her. And she freaks out, and she throws it down a well. Get rid of it. Rips it open, throws it down a well. Well, guess what? You're now going to be their whore, right? So they start shooting her up with heroin. They treat her as a prostitute. Everybody kind of takes a turn with her, and she becomes like a comfort girl, right? Enslaved in prison comfort girl to pay off her debts, which is just terrible. And her acting was incredible. Then we get to the young dude that she met up with, who was the Tommy Singh wannabe, and he's the brother of the cop, and he is just so addicted to the drugs that he gets checked into rehab, and so we see his story trying to go through withdrawal and rehab. Now we have the cop, the guy who looked like a Sikh, and I don't know, he may be wearing a turban for fashion's sake, I don't know, who's a dirty cop who works to really kind of help this drug dealer get his stuff through and make sure there's no problems with any of it. And we see his story when he realizes his younger brother now is hooked and he's part of the problem. He's a dirty cop, and he takes it to the doctor, and it was a Kapoor who was a doctor. And so that was kind of all these what look kind of separated storylines, look separated, kind of all come imploding in on each other, because what we find is with the crooked cop decides with the doctor, you know what, this is wrong, and I'm going to stop, and we're going to figure this out. And so they start doing an investigation on their own off the books. They get the stuff to find out who's all behind it, and guess what? His cop buddies are behind it, the governor's behind it, all these people are actually behind it that he works for, and he's like, oh. And then we see the younger brother who's in rehab, who decides he's going to escape, right, out of this rehab, and he doesn't realize that the doctor and his brother kind of get a thing for each other, that they're growing really close. And there's a scene where the cop, as they're breaking out, he gets stabbed with heroin, I think, and he gets all drugged out and starts confessing his feelings for this woman, madam. And he tries to do a breakout and he accidentally kills the doctor. What? I mean, it's like, what? The girl escapes her captivity and she takes off to a concert where Tommy Singh is. And Tommy Singh is like, I'm a loser, when he has that meltdown on stage and he just kind of runs away. And they kind of meet up, as junkies. They're like in Junkie Alley just hanging out. And all this stuff starts just imploding on each other. And you start to see how all of this is connected, how all of their stories are connected. And it even takes us into a location. And I won't spoil that part for you, the ending of it, because it was really good. They did a nice job where you realized all their lives are tied together, right? All of the lives are tied together. In this case, it just happens to be through the drug trade, the drug use. And it just made me think, like, how often do we do something, good or bad, and there's unintended consequences for it, right? There's unintended consequences for it. You go up and you do a video of something, and you just rip something so bad and it causes a chain reaction to something else, or good in somewhere else. Or, you're polite and kind to somebody in public, you help them out and it causes a reaction that you're not even aware of towards, goodwill towards other people or bad will towards other people, right? There's an idea out of the Bible that says the tongue holds the power of life and death. And I think you can see that from time to time in our doings. And I really thought, like, watching this film, I've made friends with a lot of you, a lot of my YouTube friends that watch. Indian, Russian, doesn't matter. And because of that, I'm now opened up to aspects of culture I never would have been. I mean, that's a positive of what is the effect. And some of you, we message in Facebook and tweet at each other, and it is a friendship that's forming, and that's something that's very much like, it's almost like the idea of karma, or sowing and reaping, depending if you want to go Occidental or Oriental in your theology. This was a really good film. The ending of it, I was just like, it was enjoyable. The ending of this film was gratifying. The ending of this film kind of wrapped everything up neatly. Let me just make sure I got everything off my notes that I wanted to talk about. Very, very good film. The young girl, Aaliyah, outstanding. I think, let me ask you guys, make sure I got the right character here. Suhail? Was he the guy in the turban? No, he wasn't. I don't think he was the guy in the turban. Was he the guy in the turban? I think that may have been Garbu's other buddy, Shahid Kapoor. And Shahid Kapoor I recognized from, what was that film? Hater. I recognized him from Hater, and I really enjoyed him in Hater. Hater was a great film. Anyways, I don't see my note now on what I was thinking. Anyway, so let me say this to you. This film was outstanding. It's definitely an A. I mean, this is no doubt an A. I think it does a great way of bridging the Indian storytelling into the American mind, because I think our ways of thinking are different. How we see things are different. And again, it goes back to Occidental and Oriental ideas of how we process things, I think, through culture and how we're raised. What a just gripping film. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If you are a vanilla face like myself and you're like, dude, how do I get this? How do I watch this? All you got to do is go to Netflix. It's on Netflix. And once you start watching some of the Bollywood films, the Indian films, the foreign films, a lot of them will start popping up. And I've really been impressed with Netflix, upping the game on their foreign films. So a couple things for you then. Number one, make sure you check out my website, Dark Sky Radio. We've been working really hard on it. We got right now we're doing the Bollywood Nights podcast, where I kind of talk about Big B. We're going to talk a little Cholet. We're going to hang out, listen to some music. I also have on there Pluto TV, which is our television station, kind of. I mean, it's the little engine that could. You can go check that out. Right, and today is Wednesday, and so on Wednesday, what we have going on is stand-up comedy all day. Let me just give you real quick a rundown, because I have it broken out. Monday is anime, Tuesday is conspiracy TV, Wednesday is stand-up comedy, Thursday is classic TV, Friday is horror film, Saturday is classic film, Sunday is RT American News. We'll also be working on showing some Bollywood films and some Russian films up there to kind of share it with the world, in a matter of speaking. So check that out. Subscribe to the channel. Peace and much love, guys. I love the film, and I will catch you all later.